So, what a lot of people talk about in UFC Undisputed 3, they go, oh, you can't move and strike at the same time. You can't move and strike at the same time. That's like the major complaint. And people often say, no, the EA games, their striking is better. No, you're wrong. And this is why. If you didn't know already, you can't really strike while moving, but you can strike in a way that moves you. Let me repeat that. You cannot strike while moving, but you can strike in a way that moves you. So, if I'm walking back and forth like this, I'm playing as Tapuria, I can't start throwing combinations while keeping this sort of pattern of movement where it's like just walking forwards and backwards in a sort of stance position. That's not something that you can really do in real life. Like, you can get up out of your chair right now, wherever you are, and walk forwards and backwards in your stance and try and throw combinations like, let's say, like a 1-2 left hook, 1-2 left hook, 1-2 left hook. And you'll notice that there's no power in it. There's no power in it because to get power, you need to plant your feet. It's necessary for any sort of power. Like, yeah, you can sort of warm up for your Muay Thai or boxing or kickboxing or MMA class, whatever, by walking around the stance and throwing those sorts of combinations. Sure, you can practice your cardio doing that, but in an actual fight, if you want any significant power, you need to plant your foot. So, look what happens when I want to jab. So say I'm walking towards Volky. If I want to jab, I need to stop, press that button. Okay? Stop, bang, like that. That's how you get a proper stiff jab going. You stop, and then you strike. And then, if I want to throw a hook, I'm walking, I throw a hook. He can still move forward with it. He takes a little step forward, a little step forward. And then, he plants his front foot in place. I'll show you again. He plants his front foot in place, and it stays there until his punch has come back to his face, back up to his guard. Because if you're still walking, if that front foot comes off the ground to take another step, or your back foot moves or whatever, if you keep walking, you'll have no speed bringing that because you have nothing to like pull the arm back to your face. It'll be so sloppy, it'll be powerless, it'll be terrible to watch. If you want to see what that actually looks like, you can go watch Dricus 2+C. Fortunately, Dricus is saved by his just crazy athleticism and his sort of strategy and stuff like that, but his technique is horrible. There's no way around it. His technique is garbage, okay? And if you want to do what he does, you can sort of sprint in this game and do that, but still, like, striking, it requires you to plant your foot so that you can deliver it with power and then bring it back to your face, and you cannot keep moving until that's done. In UFC 5, you're just sliding all over the place. The feet act so independently of the striking. They're just walking around and then they're just throwing whatever combination you want. It's just terrible. It's just not how striking works because everything is connected. Everything from, you know, the ball of your feet, upper leg, and to the end of the fist is all one motion. And that's what this game nails here. Like, I'm not moving independently of my strike. I can't just like float around throwing whatever strike I want. Like, I can't throw an uppercut moving forwards, can't throw an uppercut moving backwards because it doesn't make any sense. Like, you can't do that. It's not an uppercut. It's like a crappy little upwards punch. It's not an uppercut. It's not a proper boxing uppercut. So yeah, that's what I'm talking about with this. And then of course, if you want to move while striking, you have options. Like, you can lunge with it. Like, some characters have a Superman punch. Tapuria has this lunging straight thing. He's got the lunging jab. But you see how everything is connected to that punch with the footwork. He lunges, the jab comes out, and he stays planted so that it comes back to his face quickly and efficiently, because that's how proper striking works. Another thing that, like, because this doesn't happen in UFC 5, you get lots of problems. For example, a lot of the time, you might be chasing after someone and you throw a kick and it should miss, but because the back foot doesn't plant, he just sort of slides across the ground and then it reaches the target when it should have missed, which means that when you're playing UFC 5, you actually don't have to worry about your distance management at all. Like, I can just throw this head kick. Well, that hit him. But say something like that. In UFC 5, that would have landed. The guy isn't using some sort of defensive maneuver, right? So yeah, that's a massive flaw with UFC 5. I think it's really under-analyzed. People don't talk about it ever. People always talk about like the damage and stuff like that. But I think that is one of the problems that causes a ripple effect that causes all of the other problems. Like if they fix that, which is like the very fundamentals of striking, like you learn to plant your foot in your first Muay Thai boxing class, whatever. If they fix that, then they'd be able to fix the rest of the problems. But until that's fixed, you're not going to have an MMA game. You're going to have like a punching each other on roller skates game, which is what it is. Because, yeah, like people don't like see the footwork because it's more subtle, but it's everything. Like it's the first thing you'll learn when you actually go and do a class. But when you're watching it on the TV, like you're not looking at the footwork. You're not, who cares about like, you know, the outside foot battle or whether he's pivoting correctly on his foot. You're looking at the punches because that's what's hitting people. But there is no punches without the footwork. And the EA games have none of that. It's just not a thing at all.